Yeah, question back.
Actually, this is kind of, I think I found something that belongs to you. I've been fortunate to live in this town for about 30 years, and just 2 blocks away from here I used to live, and there was a spring in the backyard, up on the hillside. And about 25 years ago, one day I walked out there and I saw something shiny, and we have a kind of rock right there called a Agate that used to be here in the beach down here in the sand. And I look at it and I hold it and it's like a skinning tool or some kind of a tool like that. But, you know, I picked it up, I put it into a little cupboard that I have. I just went home and got it. But 25 years ago, I think I found something that belongs to you. So I give it back. I don't know which one of you want to hold it or take it, but it's definitely Yahas that I get at 25 years ago.
Agate's pretty, it's the Yahas. I know I've seen Indian words for agate. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, unfortunately, but, you know, for using rock materials that make scrapers or points and such, agate, collected on some of the beaches here, was one of the materials, as was obsidian, which was volcanic, that's mostly gotten in trade. Although, funnily enough, there was a little bit of obsidian that washed down the Siuslaw River. So the Siuslaws could pick up a little bit locally.
Not very big pebbles, though.
Yeah.
About like this size.
Well, some of them, you see a few big ones.
Everybody's very quiet.
That's a lot like that.
But, you know, the regalia like the dress there, the necklaces, the otter hide quiver, the condor feathers, all of those things are natural resources, and then they've been made into something even more beautiful. And they're wealth, but they're a lot of times things that wouldn't have been traded once they were into that finished piece. They might be something that was given up as payment for a fine, but they wouldn't be things that were sold or traded on a regular basis. And so they became part of the family's accumulated wealth, and what we refer to as kind of like spiritual wealth. It's not everyday economic resources, but they add to your family status and ability to participate in ceremonies and all of that. And so there's, even though these are made into dance necklaces, they were also a standard currency. And even canoes, house planks, all of those things had a standard value. You know, prepared foods, camas bulbs, those things were traded on a regular basis and were part of the economy. But the dentilia shells, when they were strung, just shells, all graded to the same size and a certain number of them, those things had a standard value and were considered the regular currency of the day, even though other things had standard values and were traded as well. But when people had strings of the dentilia money, that was considered real people's money. And then the Santalke clamshell money is another thing that's even more.
Is there shape?
Yeah. Yeah. They're from big clamshells.
And again, were they scored?
Individual.
Were they scored to necklace?
From what I understand, the old way of doing them was breaking up the shell, kind of grading the pieces to sizes, then kind of roughly knocking the edges down so that they were roughly round, and grade them to size, and then you'd drill the centers, and you'd have those matched up pieces. You'd string them, and then you'd kind of either have them on a stick once they were ground, or a string, and run them across a sandstone slab until they ground them all down to about the same size and into a round shape. So it was. I made this strand about 8 years ago, and I did not use that method. And these beads are actually from Tibet or Nepal. They have huge turquoise mines back there that they had these huge piles of mine tailings that have it's kind of a soapstone or chlorite kind of a material with turquoise inclusions. And there were just huge piles of this stuff, and I was starting to go back through it and make it into things where before it was considered to have no value.
What are the beads on the inner necklace? Are those 40 those?
These?
Yeah.
No, that's dentilia shell strung with a red glass bead. There are populations from Alaska
And I
down
think
to
it describes it
Baja,
kind of
California.
snail. They live pretty far offshore though, and they were close enough to shore that people on Vancouver Island with the main gatherers of those test-fate shells, and so then from them they trade them everywhere. The population's dispersed out, as I understand it, are far enough offshore and like in deep enough water, people didn't usually get at them.
And it wouldn't be pounded. Close.
Yeah, they're just test shells.
Do you pronounce your tribe Coos or Coos?
I guess it depends on the individual. It's not an original name, it's kind of a name of Coos, how you say it. I guess I usually say it with a sun sound. It was people that were honest and like, and the Coos kind of got applied later. Why don't we